Back here with Toltec pickups, and today we have a repair of this Dimarzio HS-3 stacked single coil, which has come from a Japanese Malmsteen, Yngwie Malmsteen Strat. This is the neck unit. The bridge unit is exactly the same as well. They were produced in the 80s to start with, the Dimarzio versions. The Duncan do a version, the Fury, I think, of a Malmsteen single coil, but this one is the Dimarzio HS-3. It is a very thin wired 4 conductor, black, white, red, green with a common ground. I have dismantled this already, but I just thought I'd show you how it is constructed and how we're going to do the repair. Both top and bottom coils seem to be inactive, dead. I've spec'd it out at a 23k ohmmeter reading, 23k. So if we were to split that between the two coils, that's 11.5 each, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 11.5 each. It's going to be a thin coil wire, 44 gauge I think, so slightly deeper than usual. It's plastic bobbin. It has this screw. Now the magnets, I'll just say, only run through the top coil, not all the way through. So it's almost like what you call a ghost coil, potentially at the bottom. This screw binds the two top and bottom pieces together, as we will see when we remove this cover. This is what we're looking at. And this is a thin bit of metal which is like a shielding plate and a ground plate, only on the top portion where the magnets are. We've got the black and red wires at the top, and we've got the green and white at the bottom. The way we have dismantled it is red and bare go to ground, green is the signal out, black and white together to create the series link. So it's all been wax potted, and it was a little resistant to come to pieces at the first, but we got there. And we'll take this screw out, which then separates these two top pieces. Being gentle, everything is threaded through the centre hole. These bobbins are plastic, and so we gently just pull that through there, top half here, as you can see, with the magnets. That plate is covering the magnets actually. There's the bottom coil, just a dummy plastic coil. We've got green and white. I haven't dismantled the paper and to find out the coil direction start and finish just yet, but I will get to that. But I'm taking notes as I go along as to which side they're coming off. Always taking notes, because we want to repair and recreate like new. There's a little bit of wax has been holding it together, and some residue from the little bit of rust on this metal plate. The screw goes through there to hold the two pieces together. Now this shielding plate was just pressed on, and I just gently put an X-Acto or Stanley blade if you're from the UK just between there to pry those two apart. Again, not glued in, just held with the wax pot. We'll just be very gentle. As you can see, there's a hole here for the two black and red wires to come through. The ground wire is soldered to there, and then we just pull this gently through, and we have some copper shielding tape there, which is one piece has been fashioned across the full length of these two pieces and then folded over on itself. So we may replace this to make a continuous join between this plastic piece and this. That's just how it was. So we may replace that, we may not. So we'll put that to the side. We don't need to do anything with that. And there we have it. Alnico 5 staggered magnets, various heights, and they're only going through one of the bobbins, the top bobbin. Through the bottom there is nothing, you can see. So we'll call that like a dummy coil, let's say. Again, looking at the wires there, the red is coming from this side, the black is coming from that side. We're taking notes and drawing diagrams in a notebook if we need to do about various directions of the wiring. Both coils are dead, I'm not getting anything from either one. So what we'll do is next we're going to remove the protective tape and find out where the start and finish coils, start and finish wrap is, whether it's a clockwise or counterclockwise. We'll take notes on that, so when we eventually do rewind the coil with our coil wire, we've got the wind direction right and the appropriate wires going to the start and the finish. We're just going to recreate everything as per. All we're doing now is cutting this wire off. I think what we'll do to start with is we'll see if there is anything, if it's a finished coil that's just needs a bit of a flash over with some soldering, if we can bring it back to life by some powers of deduction and some testing before we cut the whole wire off and start again. If we can resurrect it, we will do that. Sometimes it could just be a cold joint on where the coil wire meets the, you know, the signal wire, the extension there. Flash over that. If it comes to life and it stays that way, we don't need to rewind, but that's what we're going to do next. So anyway, this video is just a overview and a look of how these Dimarzio HS-3, it says DP117, if you can see that. The bridge unit is exactly the same. I've actually got one of these as well. Somebody gave me a pair. I sold one because that was working. In fact, they were both working. I sold one, I've still got the other one. I could just put the working one in here, but I'm not going to do that. This came with the instrument and we're going to repair it rather than just replace with a new one, stroke old one, which I do have. It's dead anyway, so we're going to repair. And that is how these are put together. Pretty simple once you get your head around the wiring and it can look a little bit chaotic when it's in the instrument, but if you're just very careful and very gentle, taking notes all the way along before we start completely going to town, we know then we can recreate and build. And also then once we've taken a video such as this and diagrams and writing down our findings quite scientifically, let's say, we can also make our own custom ones then. It would be a case of sourcing something like this, which is just a shielding cover between the two, just for grounding, like a base plate on a humbucker might be, let's say. We might even be able to just use a base plate. Well, that'd be an inductance booster, but we could fashion a bit of thin material out of that. We can hand make this piece and hand make the bobbins, and then we can make our own version of these Malmsteen. They're not specific signature Malmsteen, they are just what he would use in a particular instrument, HS-3. And there we go, and there's a nice cover with a bit of patina on there. You can't really see in this light. My video making skills and cameras and lighting and all that is going to improve as we go along in our journey of producing content and videos for people who are interested. But not today. Today is repairing pickups day. There we go. And if you know how, it's easy and it